Can you see
All
me
right.
well? Am I
Yeah. And
talking?
you look handsome as hell, man. So we're good. All right.
Thank you.
All right. So I'm going to start now. Okay.
All right. Let's do
All
it.
right. All right. What's up, everybody? It's Adam here. Today, I'm really excited to be talking with Daniel, who is in the Millionaire Brand Alchemy program. Daniel, you're actually one of our first people in the program, which is, I'm really excited now to chat with you and catch up as time has progressed. He's been developing a custom product and brand from the ground up, and the progress so far has been really incredible. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about the journey that he's been on so far, the breakthroughs he's had, maybe some of the challenges too, of course, and the big goals that we're aiming for, including, 7 and 8 figures in revenue, hopefully here in the first year of business. And I think personally, there's a potential here to go even further beyond that, which we'll talk about here in the call. But, without further ado, Daniel, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me and catching up. Man, you're a serial entrepreneur. You got a couple businesses going on under your belt, don't you?
Yep. Been
Nice.
in the entrepreneurial area since I was 16 in high school. I was working with my brother, doing a lot of drywall contracting work. Started door knocking at a young age as well. I would say like 17, started door knocking, and we've been growing each year. Thankfully, last year we did around $5 million in revenue with our roofing business. So that's been pretty good, and we've been just going at it every day. So it's been amazing.
I love it, man. And just from when I first met you, I just had such a good feeling because of, you were just someone who's a decision maker, you're a go-getter, and you've continued to prove that to me, throughout this whole journey so far, which is really, really exciting. You touched a little bit about your background. Maybe you can share some more about that. You said you had a roofing business and you're still running that, I guess, but you've been an entrepreneur for a while, even though you're a young guy still. You don't have to share your age, but you're quite young, at least
I just
compared
turned 22 a couple of months ago.
Turned 22. Oh, man, that's amazing. Well, first of all, happy birthday. That's exciting. Man, your 20s, that's great. So maybe you can tell me a little bit more about that before you joined the program. And then, kind of like, I guess the big question here is, after you've done that, why did you decide to join? Like what prompted you to invest in this program instead of kind of going at it alone? I'd love to hear just your journey to that, and then what led you to the decision to actually join up and work with me directly.
Okay, so a little bit more background there. I've always wanted to start an online business, right? Because I know the potential there is in starting one, the ability to work from anywhere, to scale it through your computer or your phone, and it's something I really wanted to get done. But like most people, you're unsure what to do, right? There's a lot of things to see online. When you do drop shipping, there's endless hustles, right? But the one I was most interested in was e-com, but not just getting into e-com. There's drop shipping, and at that time I didn't even know what like brand scaling was. So I was watching YouTube and I saw one of Adam's videos talking about brand scaling, and I knew like those that actually have made it far with e-com was because of the brand they made, right? Or a product they were able to scale with their own brand. And well, I knew instantly that was the way to go. And plus, Adam made me feel pretty confident the way he spoke about his experience, and in general, like what he was talking about. You can instantly know that he's a serious guy and he's done it himself. So that's how I joined the $1 million brand alchemy. Yep.
That's great, man. Thanks. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, and you got on the call with me right away, and you had this vision. It seemed like you knew you're like, I want to do brand building. I want to launch my own private label product, and you didn't hesitate. And I think that's one of the things that struck me just from the very beginning. For someone your age, you had a vision, and like you were just willing to go for it. And I love that when I see that, and that's I think one of the big things that leads to success is when people are confident, they are decisive, and of course they're willing to invest in themselves. And I guess my question to you is like, why did you decide to invest in this program instead of like doing it on your own? Because you could do that, right? Like there's a lot of information out there, but then why did you decide to join the program?
Well, I value mentorship, and I know that's a way to move faster. If there's someone along your way that's your mentor, someone that's done it before, that's basically how you get it done in less time. You avoid all the mistakes. There's help along your way, and that's something that's helped me even in our current business. We've gotten mentors, we've been to conferences, just applying what the others have teached us, others that have done it already before us, applying their same concepts, teachings. We've been able to grow very fast. So yeah, I wanted to move fast. I wanted to do it right the first time and learn from someone that's built $1 million brands before.
That's great, man. Yeah, I'm someone who's a huge proponent, and obviously I teach, but I'm still learning. I am in mentorship still, always trying to level up. And I think that's one of the keys to success in entrepreneurship. I mean, you've already been so successful for someone your age. I've been able to build and sell these brands over the years, and the key is to always be learning. I mean, I think that's just a fundamental thing that you see with successful people. And learning from others is obviously better than learning the hard way yourself. And I'm part of the reason why I started to make this program is because, like, when I got started, there really wasn't that much out there to support people. And I made a lot of the mistakes the hard way. So I hope this has helped you. So maybe you can tell me how the program has helped you shape and refine your product idea, because one of the things that's really hard for a lot of people when they get started, or especially if they're new to e-commerce, the big question I get is like, what product do I start with? So maybe you can walk through how we helped you shape that. You had some ideas in mind, but tell me about that.
Well, it's very valuable. It's like a step-by-step guide, so you know exactly what to do. You're never lost, even if you are. There's help along the way, and it's very valuable as well. The product research. How you teach us to do the product research, because of course that's a very important factor. If you're gonna spend money, invest money for a product, it's better that it's more likely to succeed than not, right? And that you do that by doing the product research, like you teach us, looking at specific numbers, using specific software, and that's how I was able to come up with the current product I'm launching, and I feel pretty confident about it.
Yeah, it's going to be huge. I mean, I have massive expectation for this, and I know it's just going to crush it, especially with the amount of work that you put into this. Look, there's always ups and downs in the process. You've experienced some roadblocks along the way.
Yep.
But maybe you can kind of touch on some of that without scaring people too much.
Yeah, well,
but I think the key thing is, let's also talk about how, and of course, if you feel this way, but the guidance of the program, me kind of getting involved where you need to be. How has that helped you when those roadblocks came up, and then to avoid mistakes or move faster in the process to get to where you're at?
Well, a lot. Whenever I was unsure, or still, if I'm ever gonna be unsure about something comes up, I can just let Adam know. He'd be able to guide me to make the best decision. And some of the roadblocks I've had is I was trying to get my product sourced as cheap as possible. I know it's not very good, but I just wanted to get it launched with the least amount of money possible. So I was contacting some China suppliers. I requested all the samples from different ones. I received like 4 or 5 samples, went with the one that was the best. However, there were some problems along the way, some issues with the supplier. They weren't very honest with me, so I paid them. And whenever I tried to launch my product, they didn't have the certifications, even though they say they did. So I'd make sure you listen to Adam and to all the requirements you need, right? So that was a big waste of time. And Adam has guided me through it too. At this point, he told me to just move with a U.S. supplier. That's gonna, of course, not cause issues in the long run. It's U.S. made, so that's a big plus as well for launching a product. It's more expensive, but I think it's worth the investment, of course. But yeah, it's taking longer than I've wanted, but it's been a journey. It's still not there, but we're gonna get it done.
Of course, yeah, and look, that's a part of the process, right? I think this is also an example of people, learning things about business and a new business that you're in. There's always going to be things like that. You can never escape it. But I think the point of having somebody and a group of people and a program is, you can lean on me, right? You messaged me right away when there was problems. I stepped in. I was like, look, this is what you should tell them. Let's start to look for a US-based supplier. We did that. We moved really quickly there. I also offered to get on the call with the other supplier with you if needed. I'm here for you. And I think that's one of the things that I try to offer people that come into this program is, I have been there and I've done it, at a high level. And what you're getting, aside from all the program and the content and the exercises and the tools and the tricks and tips and everything, is me. You're getting access to me to help you. And I feel like, I can confidently say that has helped you, I think, and benefited you to get to where you're at right now. So, look, there's going to be bumps along the way no matter what, but I think this is also part of the journey, and you're getting your money back. So, I mean, I think at the end of the day, it didn't really cost you much but time. But that being said, we're still moving. Yeah, we're still moving quick though. So, I think we've got this resolved, and that's an example where obviously having somebody, help guide you is going to be really valuable. So if we talk a little bit about confidence and momentum and that kind of stuff, I'd love to know, how do you feel now in your ability to successfully, run and scale a business like this compared to when you first started? I mean, what gives you confidence that this, is going to exceed your expectations? Let's just say that, because it seems like that's the case. I mean, we're going to crush it, and you're very bullish. So, and I am too, but let me know.
Well, what gives me confidence is having a mentor like Adam. He's a good guy. And he's done it before, so that's a big plus. You guys don't have an idea how much it helps to have a mentor. The product research, like I said before, I think that itself is worth $1 million. Just doing that correctly will drastically surpass your probability to succeed, right? But also having a good community like the Millionaire Brand Alchemy, that's valuable. And having weekly calls, you're able to have weekly calls with the team, that's invaluable. You can get so much answered and avoid mistakes along the way.
Definitely. Good, man. Good. Yeah, you should be confident because this thing's going to be huge. Look, that's part of what I'm here for and why I built this. It takes time to get a high level of confidence in what you're doing, just like anything else. You got to put the reps in, right? Like, this is a business. But I think throughout this process, what I've seen with you is you already come with a lot of confidence just in yourself. And more importantly, you just believe in yourself. And that's also why I have the section in the program around your mental state, your principles, how you approach things, because that's something that a lot of people need. I talk to so many people, and I have people that come in the program who sometimes lack those things. And there is an important element of business building and brand building, as you're aware of, which is the mental state, right? You got to have that confidence. You got to have your systems. You got to have things like journaling, that kind of stuff. It really does have a really positive impact. And that's why I make such an emphasis on it in the program. And so, yeah, you're one of those people who has a lot of confidence naturally, but you get the reps in and stuff. So, well,
that's
cool,
something
man.
that I mentioned to you to remember. How I mentioned to Adam that I really like the mindset part of the program.
Yeah,
He's
definitely.
about journaling, and that's something that's helped me drastically ever since I started. One of the most helpful things I've done is journal. Just getting the paper out and writing what I wanted to do. It gave me confidence. That helped me a lot too. So I mentioned to him, that's super important. And that's another thing that drastically improves your probability to succeed.
I agree. I'm such a huge proponent of it, and I still do it every day. I think it just gives you, what you think, what you write down, what you say, you kind of speak those things and write those things into existence. And then also you hold yourself accountable, right? And it's also a way to get your feelings and stuff out, because, entrepreneurship is a lot of unknowns. It's ups and downs. And, I remember that in the beginning, you kind of said, yeah, that was like really helpful to me. So I'm glad that helped a lot. Cool. Well, like based on the product and market, I think we have some really big expectations here. Like, what are we aiming for? What do you think we're going to be hitting in the year one of revenue?
We're aiming for at least $1 million in the first year. It's a strong product that we're launching, backed up by good research, and product markets. It's good, so we could even surpass that amount of $1 million.
Yeah, I think this is an 8-figure business. I mean, realistically, we'll hit $1 million in the first year, and then it's just scaling, and that's even just one product. So, we talked a little bit about line extensions and other things too. So we'll work that in, and we'll have to do a follow-up a year from now. And probably be a 5 million at that point, but like that'll give us a good funny thing to look back on. What does that mean to you to have that kind of roadmap and those kind of numbers and trajectory ahead of you?
It gives me motivation to keep going, keep doing it, and not giving up. I know it can be a big thing for me, for my family, and yeah, it gives me a stronger purpose.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, financial freedom is totally doable, and this is what I love about this business model. And I think the interesting thing for you too is you're running this business while having another business. So this is actually not your primary business. So for people out there who have a full-time job or have a family or combination of those things, I think Daniel is a good testament that you can run this kind of business while doing something else. And so that's super important to a lot of people because, they kind of sometimes are worried about that. Where do you see this business in 2 to 3 years? Like, what's your goal? Or do you want to keep scaling it? Do you want to sell the business? Like, what's your vision with this long term?
I would like to exit in the future. First of all, enjoy the journey of scaling it, growing each year with the vision of selling it in the future. So that's another reason why I should work with Adam. He's sold businesses before, so it's very important to structure it a certain way so you can get the most amount of money for it. And yeah, we're gonna keep scaling it until we reach a good amount of revenue per year, profitable, and hopefully sell it in the future, a couple of years from now.
Totally. Yeah, and I can absolutely. Yeah, then do another one, right? Do it again. All right, you're too young to retire, man. You got to do it again. Man, look, this is one of the most exciting things about building a brand and why I'm such a big advocate for it, why I teach this, because it's about enterprise value, right? I mean, there's a lot of good business models out there. Don't get me wrong. You can obviously do drop shipping. You can do, print on demand stuff. You can do private label. There's a lot of different ways to kind of skin the e-commerce cat, if you're going to say it that way. But the thing that I really, really love the most about this business model and building your own brand is the exit value, right? That's where you're going to make real money. Not that you can't make money along the way, but in the exit is where you make the money. And I love the fact that you're already thinking about that, because you're right. You have to build your business from the beginning with that in mind. There's ways to structure it from day one to make it more appealing to a buyer. And I'm glad that you listened. You've been listening to me tell you that we got to do this the right way from the beginning. And I'm just super confident. And I know it's going to go really, really well. And yeah, I could see this being a business that makes you 8 figures too, right? So like that's totally doable if we keep growing it. Well, that's good, man. Well, listen, I guess my last question here is, why would you recommend this program to somebody who is reading about me or watched my video, or that may have, seen the content and might be on the fence or is thinking about joining? What would you say to those people?
Well, first of all, be very smart with your money or you invest it. Like I said, Adam automatically build that trust with me since the first video. Of course, I haven't even met him yet. But at that time, when I saw the first video, but the way he was able to speak about his experience, about what he does, I've seen successful people before, and that I knew instantly he was the real deal. So do it with someone that's being where you want to be, and they can help you.
And that means a lot to me, by the way. You know, you put your faith in me, and you put your money where your mouth is, and you invested in yourself with me. And I know that's, you know, that's important to people, that they know that their money is being well spent. And it's a lot of money, right? So people spend money on a program like this. They need to feel confident that it's going to work out for them, that they're going to have the right mentorship, that it's, you know, someone with integrity and with principles. And, you know, I try my best to be upfront and direct with everybody. And, you know, that's why I make the videos that I make, where I talk very openly about everything, the ups and downs of building a business and scaling a business. But it means a lot to me that you believed in this program also. And it seems to be paying off, which is really great. So I'm super happy to see that. Cool. Well, thank you so much, Daniel. I really appreciate you sharing your story about your journey so far. You know, what I really love about this conversation is that it shows the power of having the right playbooks, the right guidance, the right mentality, and all of that stuff in place. That's the foundation for confidence and for success. And this is the roadmap that I'm really trying to teach people. I really look forward to continuing to working with you on this business and scaling it. And I just have such high hopes for, you know, how big we're going to make this. And look forward to sharing also a future update for, you know, a year from now. We'll keep everyone posted on how that continues to grow. But listen, thanks again for joining, for being a part of the program, for taking this call, and for sharing your experience. I really appreciate it.